Hey, good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to high school basketball. This afternoon's game coming to you from Keefe Gymnasium on Saturday afternoon here in December, and it's the Rutland High Red Raiders hosting the Burlington High Seahorses. Mark Carboneau here to do the play-by-play, Brian Mayhew on the camera, and thus we open up another season of round ball here at the high school level. This afternoon's ball game, the Red Raiders under first-year coach, new coach this year, Dave Kinsman. And, of course, Coach Kinsman, no stranger to basketball, high school basketball in this area. Dave, with much success at West Rutland High School, moving on to Mount St. Joseph's. And he's been an assistant coach over at Castleton State here the last few years. So he's back at the helm here in high school basketball, and this year with the Rutland High Red Raiders. The Raiders coming into today's ball game, they were supposed to play a game against Burlington Thursday night, but that got snowed out. So this the opener for the Red Raiders this year. And this year the Raiders coming in with two players that saw, actually two returning starters from last year's ball club that made it to the playoffs before losing to the Middlebury Tigers. And those two players being Chris Mayhew and also Aaron Boynton, seeing plenty of action last year. A total of 7 seniors, and those seniors returning, they did see some limited action last year. We've got 5 juniors and 1 sophomore and 1 freshman on this year's club. And this afternoon facing the Burlington High Seahorses, and the Seahorses are regarded as one of the top teams in Division I this year to return to the final scene, and there'll be plenty of pressure on them. The Raiders looking for their first, as I said earlier, this is their first game, looking for their first win of the season, and they'd like nothing better to do to get it against the talented Seahorse squad here this afternoon. We'll take a short break, and we'll be back for the start of this afternoon's ball game. All right, back at Keefe Gymnasium here for this afternoon's ball game between the Rutland High Red Raiders and the Seahorses from Burlington High. And momentarily we'll have the opening introductions here for both clubs. The Raiders with a new look this year. Coach Dave Kinsman coming back into the high school ranks, and the coaching the Burlington High cheerleaders coming onto the court here. Number 12 for the Seahorses, that's Jay O'Brien. Number 22, Sam Kucher. 24 is Manny Robertson. 32 and number 30 and number 31. That's Seth Smith and Justin Pecor. Now for the Rutland High Red Raiders, and a starting lineup. Number 12, that's Jake Conway. Number 21, Jake Eaton. Number 22, Aaron Boynton, he's a senior. And Chris Mayhew, number 23, another senior. And also Aaron Bailey, number 24, another senior. And a coach, Dave Kinsman. Now for our national anthem.
Stripes and bright stars through
All right, back at Rutland High's Keefe Gymnasium here this afternoon for the ball game between the Burlington High Seahorses and the Rutland High Red Raiders. Going over that Raider lineup again, you've got Mayhew, Boynton, Eaton, Conway, and Bailey in there for the Raiders. We'll pick up the Burlington High lineup here as we get going. Jumping center, Aaron Boynton of the Raiders. And number 24, Manny Robertson. And the tip, the Seahorses control. Jay O'Brien, the point guard for the Seahorses. Gets it to Seth Smith, and we got a whistle. And let's see. Ball's going to go against the Raiders. So that'll be against Conway. Jake Conway picking up the personal there, number 12 for the Raiders. The Seahorses control. It's O'Brien now, gets it to Smith. Pecor. Back to O'Brien. O'Brien took a few extra steps, so the ball goes back to the Raiders. Well, the Raiders will go on the offense here. Aaron Bailey. And he gets it into Chris Mayhew. Mayhew, the point guard for the Raiders. Chris seeing plenty of action last year, also along with Aaron Boynton for last year's club. The two returning starters. Conway gets it back to Mayhew. And this is Pecor on the drive, and he makes it. Justin Pecor opens the scoring here. And the Seahorses on top, 2-0, 7:15 left. First quarter action from Keefe. Boynton gets it to Jake Eaton now. Eaton to Conway. Back to Mayhew. Gets it inside to Bailey. Trying to get to Mayhew. Trying to set something up here. Aaron Bailey now to go inside, and Boynton lost the handle. Go back over to the Seahorses. 6:48 first quarter action. The Seahorses 2 and the Raiders nothing here from Keefe Gymnasium. Jay O'Brien, the point guard for the Seahorses, bringing it up. It's at the Smith now. They go to Robertson. Over to O'Brien. Gets it inside to Robertson. Doesn't go. Wanted to get it inside to Robertson, and the Raiders control. Back to Conway now. Outside. Big rebound by Boynton, and he puts it in. Well, Boynton with the 2 points. And it's 2-2 now. O'Brien brings it back over to Pecor to Smith. To O'Brien from the outside. And the rebound control by Jake Eaton. Eaton lets it go to Mayhew now. Mayhew bringing it up. And pretty move on the inside. Chris Mayhew with the bucket. 4-2 Raiders. 5:54 left, first quarter. O'Brien in the lane. Wanted to go to Kuchar, and the ball goes out of bounds, so it'll be a Seahorse ball. 5:51 left, first quarter of action here from Keefe. The Raiders 4, the Seahorses 2. O'Brien to Pecor to Smith. Back to O'Brien now. Going into Robertson. We got a foul going against Aaron Bailey of the Raiders. So Bailey picks up his first. Conway has one. The Raiders have 2 team fouls here in the first quarter. 5:42 left, 4-2 Raiders on top of the Seahorses. O'Brien, and he gets it out to Smith. They go back to O'Brien now, looking for Robertson. And Smith dragged his pivot foot. It's going to go back over to the Raiders. It's the second turnover on steps for the Seahorses. The Raiders will control. Bailey to Mayhew. Chris Mayhew, the senior point guard, brings it into Aaron Boynton. Boynton out to Eaton now. Eaton back into Mayhew, drives the base, and wouldn't go for him, and O'Brien brings it back down. It's it inside to Smith, and it's good. Smith with the bucket for the Seahorses. 4:04 to go, or 4:04, 5:04 to go in the first quarter here from Keefe Gymnasium. Jake Eaton now to Jake Conway. Conway over to Bailey. Bailey back to Mayhew. Mayhew to Conway. Conway in the lane, and it doesn't go. The rebound, we got a fall. Let's see. Looks like this one's going to go against Jake Conway. It's going to be Jake's second. So we got 2 on Conway, 1 on Bailey for the Raiders as far as the fall situation goes. Checking in for the Raiders, Joe Duval. Joe, a junior here at the high school, so it's Duval, Mayhew, Boynton, Eaton, and Bailey in for the Raiders. This is O'Brien controlling for the Seahorses to Smith, back to O'Brien. Rebound controlled by Duval, and they're going to get him for traveling. Tied up with Boynton on the rebound, and Joe went to the floor, and they called traveling against the Raiders, so the Seahorses will inbound it. Seahorses going with the same 5. It's O'Brien now. O'Brien being guarded by Mayhew. The ball goes out of bounds off the Seahorses. It'll be a Raider ball. 4:24 left. First quarter here from Keefe. 4-4. Raiders and the Seahorses this afternoon on Channel 15. Mayhew working against O'Brien. Now gets it to Duval. Duval looking for help. Gets it to Mayhew. Mayhew through the lane and doesn't go. Rebound and control by the Seahorses. And a layup down at the other end is Smith with the bucket. 6-4 Burlington now on top of the Raiders. 3:56 left in the first quarter. Mayhew slowing it down. I'll bring it up over the timeline. There's a pick out there by Eaton. He takes Pecor down underneath the basket to Boynton from outside. Rebound is controlled by Robertson of the Seahorses. He gets it ahead to O'Brien in the lane, and we got a whistle on the play here. I think they're going to have Aaron Boynton with the fall. Let's see what the call is here. So Aaron Boynton picking up his first personal. So the Raiders with 4 team fouls. And let's see, checking in for Chris Mayhew is Mike Stempek, number 15 for the Raiders. So we've got Stempek, Eaton, Boynton, Bailey, and Duval for the Raiders. And at the line, number 22, Sam Kuchar for the Seahorses. 7-4 now, Seahorses. 3:34 left, first quarter of action. Kuchar hits them both, and it's 8-4 Burlington now over the Raiders. This is Eaton bringing it in. Gets it to Boynton to Stempek. Stempek back to Eaton. Looking inside, and he had Stempek down here, dishes it to Boynton, and a basket's good. Aaron Boynton fouled on the play. Basket's good, and he'll get a chance to make the three-point play here with 3:16 left first quarter. Seahorses 8 and the Raiders 6. And a rebound controlled by Burlington. Robertson to O'Brien to Pecor. And Pecor takes it inside, and it's good. 10-6, Seahorses on top to Duval now. Drive, shoots, and it's Joe Duval with the bucket. 10-8 now, Burlington. Back come the Seahorses. O'Brien working against Stempek now. Pecor from outside. And rebound controlled by the Raiders. Boynton picks it off, sets it up now. Gets it to Stempek. He gets it to Eaton. Back to Boynton. And they're going to get Aaron Boynton for steps going through the lane there. 2:39 left, first quarter. And the Raiders trail in this one, 10-8 to the Seahorses. We got timeout on the court here. And let's see, number 24, that's Aaron Bailey will check out. And checking in for the Raiders is John Lynn. So John Lynn is in. It's O'Brien now. O'Brien looking for help. Gets it to Smith to Pecor. Pecor back to O'Brien. Smith from outside. The rebound knocked around, controlled by the Raiders. Stempek gets it ahead to Eaton. Jake Eaton with the ball now. And he tried to drive the baseline, and he's fouled. And that one's going to go against number 30 of the Seahorses, Seth Smith. So Smith with the foul, and the Raiders will inbound at the Raiders with 4 team fouls, Seahorses with 2. Duval now whips it across to Eaton. Eaton stops, pops, and doesn't go. Rebound controlled by the Seahorses. O'Brien will bring it up. Jay O'Brien in the lane looking for Robertson under the basket, and it's good. Manny Robertson in the bucket for the Seahorses, 12-8 now. Burlington on top, 1:48 left in the first quarter. The Raiders with the ball to go inside to Lynn. Lynn gets it back to Boynton now. Boynton over to Eaton, over to Stempeck. Stempeck back to Lynn, and he saves it. Gets it to Eaton. Jake Eaton now. Bounce pass in to Boynton with the jumper, doesn't go. Rebound controlled by the Seahorses. Pecor gets it ahead to O'Brien. He tried to go back door, and the basket's good. O'Brien just flipped it up. Robertson took it in. He gets fouled on the play. And I'm not sure who got the foul there for the Raiders. Dave Pallard checks in for Rutland. So Paller's in, Lynn is out, and Stempeck is out. So we got, let's see, Eaton, Paller, Bailey's back in, and Chris Mayhew's back in. Also, Joe Duval now. At the line, Manny Robertson, and the basket's good. 15-8 now, and the foul was on, let's see, there's Paller from outside, and a rebound. And we got a foul on Aaron Bailey, and this one's going to go, let's see, this will be Bailey's second. Boynton picked up the previous one, so the Raiders now with, I've got the Raiders for 6 team fouls now, first quarter action, 1:05 left, 15-8. The Seahorses on top of the Raiders. O'Brien from outside, and nothing but net on that one. Jay O'Brien with the bucket. The Seahorses go up 17-8 to Duval. Across court to Eaton. Jake drives it in, and it's good. Jake Eaton with the bucket, and the Raiders now down by 7. 17-10. Back out. Shot from outside is good. That's number 23 for the Seahorses. Ari Tebow with the bucket. So Tebow with the basket. 19-10, Seahorses on top. Mayhew now gets it to Bailey. Bailey over to Eaton. Eaton with a nice bounce pass to Duval. Duval and puts it up. Doesn't go. Rebound. And it's going to be a white ball out of bounds. So the Raiders will inbound it here with 6 seconds left in the first quarter. 19-10, the Seahorses on top. Mayhew gets it over to Bailey. Bailey goes high to Duval. Robertson gets the ball. O'Brien throws it up. And that'll do it. After 1 quarter of play here from Keefe, it's Burlington 19 and Rutland 10. All right, back at Keefe Gymnasium, start of the second quarter. The Raiders find themselves down here by 9. 19-10, the Burlington High Seahorses on top. Saturday afternoon basketball action here at Keefe Gymnasium. Bailey goes inside, and that's stuffed by Robertson. Pecor ahead of the pack, lays it up, and it doesn't go. The rebound, let's see, it's going to be off the Raiders. So Burlington will inbound. If the Raiders going with Eaton, Duval, Paller, Bailey, and Mayhew in there for Rutland. This is Tebow. They get it to O'Brien inside, working against Mayhew inside, and with the bucket, Tebow. So Burlington now ups their lead, 21-10 with 7:30 left in the second quarter here. Paller over to Duval. Duval looking for some help, gives it back to Eaton now outside. Into Paller to Duval. Duval in the lane, puts it up and in. Joe Duval with the bucket for the Raiders. And it's 21-12. Burlington on top. Robertson goes inside. And a turnaround jumper. Shot there by Kuchar. And Bailey picks up the personal. So that's Aaron Bailey's third. Aaron Bailey with his third, so the Raiders now with 7 team fouls, and stepping to the line is Sam Kuchar for the Seahorses. And that goes in and out. So Kuchar misses them both. Eaton runs it down for the Raiders, and Jake Eaton brings it in now. Gets it back outside. Number 30, that's Sinus, and they lost the handle. Manny Robertson there to follow up. O'Brien missed it. Robertson was there to put up the putback there. It's 23-12 now. Burlington on top. Mayhew back to the attack to Conway, who's back in there. And Robertson knocks it out of bounds. Pretty defensive play by Manny Robertson. So with 6:38 left here, second quarter, Pecor steps out for the Seahorses. This is Jake Eaton now. Gets it to Conway. Conway to Mayhew to Sinus. Back to Mayhew. He goes back to Boynton now. Jake Eaton from outside. In and out. Oh, I tell you, tough shot. And the Raiders will control underneath their own basket here. Mayhew will put it in play. 6:19 left. Second quarter action. 23-12. Burlington on top of the Raiders. Conway. And Jake loses the handle. Goes out of bounds. So Burlington will take over now. That's Smith. Smith, O'Brien, Tebow, Robertson. And also, let's see, Kuchar in there for the Seahorses. Conway. And good hustle there by Jake Conway, the Raiders. Jake Eaton steps out, and Joe Duval back in for the Raiders. This is O'Brien now, bringing it up to point guard. Working against Mayhew. They went to Tebow. They go to Robertson in the lane, the jumper. And the rebound, Sinus gets it ahead to Mayhew. 5:50 left, second quarter action here from Keefe. Sinus goes to Conway. Conway loops it into Boynton. And double coverage under there. And they're going to get Boynton for 3 seconds. 5:40 left here, second quarter, 23-12. The Raiders on the short end of things right here to the Seahorses. O'Brien brings it up for Burlington now. It's at the Kuchar. Wanted to go to Robertson. It's stolen by Sinus. And in the lane, puts it up. Doesn't go. Follow-up is no good. Robertson pulls it down to O'Brien. Gets it to Smith underneath. That one doesn't go. The rebound finally tipped away there, and the Raiders will control. Sinus. It's it to Mayhew. Sinus, Mayhew, Conway, Boynton, and Duval in for the Raiders. Looped underneath the basket. Boynton. Second one. I'll tell you, boy, the Raiders can't buy a basket here. Duval runs it down, but it's going to be a, let's see. Going to be a Raider ball out of bounds with 4:54 left in the second quarter. Checking in for Burlington, it's Phil Hoyt, number 21. Conway now will inbounds. He goes to Mayhew. Mayhew over to Duval. Duval wants to go inside there. Nobody open, so he whips it back to Mayhew. Back to Conway now. Conway drives, and he's fouled on the play. Let's see. Raiders with, okay. Hoyt's going to pick up the personal, so Phil Hoyt, who just came into the ball game for the Seahorses, picks up the foul. The Raiders with 17 fouls, and the Seahorses with 3 at this point. 4:41 left in the first quarter. Mayhew looking for someone to hit. Duval over to Sinus underneath. And Boynton with the Tried to handle it back. They go the other way, Smith, and he's fouled by Mayhew. So Chris will pick up his first personal of the ball game. And the Raiders pick up their 8th team foul now. And stepping to the line is number 30, Steve Smith, for the Seahorses. 4:30 left, second quarter here. Smith on the line. Rebound controlled by Duval. Duval gets it ahead to Mayhew now. Mayhew back to Conway. Conway back to Mayhew. And he gets it to Duval. Duval back to Mayhew. I'll tell you, the Seahorses with that. I'll tell you, they're packing it in real tight here. Raiders having tough time cracking that defense. There's Conway from outside. And back up by Mayhew, and he's fouled on the play. And let's see, this one I think is going to go against Jay O'Brien for the Seahorses. So O'Brien picks up his first personal. And Chris Mayhew steps to the charity stripe for the Raiders. Checking out is Tebow and Kuchar for the Seahorses. So Mayhew is at the line, 23-12. Seahorses on top with 3:57 left here in the second quarter of play. All right. 23-13 now. All right, he didn't get the second one, but the rebound controlled by Sinus, and it's good. So Greg Sinus with the bucket underneath off the missed foul shot by Mayhew. And the Raiders, the Raiders call a timeout first. They'll take a timeout, and we'll take one here also.
Great.
All right, back at Keefe Gymnasium here. 3:48 left in the second quarter of play, and the Burlington High Seahorses 23, and the Rutland High Red Raiders 15. The Raiders will inbound it. We've got Mayhew, Duval, Conway, Sinus, and Boynton in for the Raiders. It goes to Conway, back to Mayhew in the lane. Robertson controls for Burlington. He gets it ahead to O'Brien. O'Brien brings it up for the Seahorses. Back to Robertson now, looking for help. Goes to Smith, back to Pecor to O'Brien. Inside, stripped away by Sinus. Mayhew, and retrieves it, gets it to Conway from outside, and doesn't go. Rebound is Boynton. And they're going to call this one, I think, against, let's see. Aaron Boynton's going to pick up the personal for the Raiders. So we got a 1-on-1 situation for the Seahorses now. Well, Aaron Boynton picks up his third. Aaron Bailey has 3. Jake Conway 2, and Chris Mayhew 1 as far as the fouls are concerned. So with 3:22 left, this will send Phil Hoyt to the line for Burlington. Off the glass on that one. 24-15. And he gets them both, so it's 25-15, a 10-point lead for the Seahorses now over the Raiders. And Mayhew brings it up for Rutland now. 3:17 left, second quarter action from Keefe. Sinus with the ball. Goes to Conway. Over to Mayhew, inside to Sinus, and skips it back to Duval outside now. Duval wanted to go back to Conway. It's stripped away. O'Brien, Robertson in the lane, and Manny's going to go down, and so is it Jake Conway down there. Jake's going to pick up the personal. And that's Jake's third. So the Raiders here find themselves in a little bit of foul trouble. Conway, Boynton, and Bailey all with 3 fouls here in the second quarter. And checking in is Matt Bloomer. Jake Conway will take a seat, and also Joe Duval. So back in for the Raiders is Jake Eaton. Dave Paller is back in also. Manny Robertson at the line. And Manny, a junior, 6'4" junior forward for the Seahorses. Well, he makes 1 out of 2 for Burlington. 26-15. Seahorses on top. Now you got Mayhew's in. And let's see. Drives it in, dishes it to Eaton, and it's good. So Jake Eaton with the bucket. And back comes the Seahorses. O'Brien. With a T-ball back to Bryan in the lane. He's got it. He's a slick shooting point guard there for the Seahorses. Jay O'Brien. And it puts the Seahorses up 28-17, 2:23 left. Back come the Raiders. To Mayhew now in the lane. Dishes at the Sinus. Greg puts it up. It's blocked. Mayhew's right there. Puts it in. Chris Mayhew with the bucket. Back come the Raiders. The steal. Sinus. The Mayhew. And we got a foul outside. Let's see. Coming through the lane, and Mayhew was fouled by the Seahorses. Let's see who this one was. This another one against O'Brien. So O'Brien picks up his second. Jay O'Brien with a second personal. 10 fouls against the Raiders. 5 team fouls against the Seahorses. Mayhew will inbound it with 2:02 left. Second quarter, he goes to Paller. And we got a foul on Pecor. We got both number 31s going at it, and Pecor picks up the personal. So that'll be the 6th team foul against the Seahorses. 1:59 left. So the Raiders will inbound it. Mayhew, Sinus, Eaton, Paller, and Bloomer in for the Raiders. Sinus goes through the lane, throws it up, and the rebound controlled by Burlington. O'Brien. Outside, he's deadly. That one doesn't go. The rebound, boy, everybody's gotten knocked around down there. And let's see. It's going to be a Raider ball. So you got Mayhew. 1:40 left. Brings it up. Paller's in there. Bloomer, Sinus, and Eaton. In the lane of Paller, and he's fouled on the play. This one's going to go against Manny Robertson. 1:33 left, 28-19. Well, let's see now. Dave Paller will be on the line for the Raiders.
Hold on, David.
Dave Paller finding a range. 1:33 left, 28-20 now. Seahorses on top. The Raiders with 10 team fouls, or Seahorses with 7. But Dave gets 1 of 2, and the rebound's controlled by the Seahorses. O'Brien brings it ahead. T-ball from outside, and it's good. We're back here, 1:03 left. Second quarter action, 30-20. The Seahorses on top of the Raiders. A little battery trouble, but we're all set. Paller now skips it back to Mayhew outside. Raiders. Jake Eaton. Looking to go inside. He gets it to Mayhew. Over to Bloomer. Bloomer now back to Eaton. Stops, pops, and no good. Rebound. Let's see, we got a... I think we're going to have John Lynn with the foul here. 25 for the Raiders, so... Lynn picks up his first personal. 33 seconds left, second quarter action. The Seahorses up by 10 here, 30-20. And stepping to the line will be Manny Robertson for the Seahorses. Jay O'Brien steps out. And let's see. Yeah, well, Aaron Carboneau's in for the Raiders. I was trying to pick up O'Brien went out, and number 22 now for Sam Kuchar's back in for the Seahorses. Robertson gets the first one, he gets the second one. 32-20. So it's Paller, Carboneau, Bloomer, Lynn, and Eaton in for the Raiders. 26 seconds left, second quarter. Eaton to Bloomer to Carboneau. And he goes to Lynn. Back to Bloomer. Bloomer drives the base, and Robertson comes up with the big block. Gets it ahead to Pecor. Pecor. And let's see. We're going to have a foul on Aaron Carboneau. So Pecor goes to the line here. 32-20. The Seahorses on top. 10 seconds left. Second quarter action. Pecor at the line. Pecor gets one of two. It's 33-20 now. 10 seconds left. Carboneau brings it up for the Raiders. Bounces at the Bloomer. Bloomer going to Eaton. 3 seconds left. The Carboneau puts it up and got it! Aaron Carboneau. And at the buzzer hits a three-pointer. So at the end of one half of play, it's the Raiders 33, or the Seahorses 33, the Raiders 23. All right, back at Keefe Gymnasium here, getting ready to start the second half of play. The Raiders find themselves down by 10 points to the Burlington High Seahorses. The Raiders and the Seahorses, third quarter action, 33-23, Burlington on top. Seahorses going with the same starting five. O'Brien will set the Raider lineup here momentarily. Gets it to Smith, and Smith leaves it short. He picks up the foul on the other end of it. So send Aaron, well, let's see, it was follows on Smith. So it goes to the Raiders. Boynton will inbound. You got Boynton, Mayhew, Eaton, Bailey, and Conway. And that's the Raiders starting five back in there to start this third quarter of action here. High school basketball this afternoon from Rutland High's Keefe Gymnasium. Boynton with the attempt. And the Seahorses, O'Brien down the other end, inside to Smith. Or is that Pecor? Pecor. And I guess he's going to pick up. Well, that was Smith. Well, at any rate, the ball goes back to the Raiders. Mayhew to Conway. Conway now skips it back to Bailey. Bailey over to Eaton. Eaton to Boynton. And they're going to get Aaron Boynton for steps. And the same type of thing that was plaguing the Raiders in that first half has followed them into the second half here to start things off. The Raiders making some turnovers and really not helping themselves in that first half of play. 33-23 as we start the second half here. 6:56 left. Robertson with the ball. To Kuchar, O'Brien, and that one is rebounded by Jake Eaton. So Eaton brings it down for the Raiders. He gets it ahead to Mayhew. Mayhew to Conway now. The Raiders down by 10. They go to Eaton. Double teamed out there. It goes to Conway. Dishes it to Boynton. Boynton up strong off the board. And a rebound, Robertson for the Seahorses. He's been a thorn in the side of the Raiders here all afternoon. Robertson off the boards for Burlington. O'Brien, and he banks it. I'll tell you, he's deadly. Jay O'Brien from outside doing the damage for the Seahorses. 35-23 now, 6:05 left, third quarter of action. Conway wanted to go to Bailey, and it's picked off by Robertson. He gets it ahead to O'Brien. O'Brien to Smith to Pecor. Pecor now looks over to Smith. Back to O'Brien. And he's going to take it from outside. It's rebounded by Mayhew, who runs it down, and he'll bring it up for the Raiders. Mayhew skips it to Boynton inside, and it's good. So the Raiders' first buckets here, or first points, second half, and it's 35-25, 5:28 left, third quarter. And Boynton gets the bucket for the Raiders. Nice assist there by Chris Mayhew. In the lane, Robertson went up once, and I guess he didn't leave his feet. He got the second attempt, went up and in. 37-25, Seahorses. Eaton to Bailey. They skip it out to Boynton, and off the front of the rim there. Rebound. And let's see who picks up the foul here. All right, Jake Conway picks up the personal for the Raiders, and that's going to be Jake's fourth. That's his fourth foul of the afternoon. 37-25, Burlington on top of the Rutland High Red Raiders. 5:02 left in the third quarter. O'Brien. Duval is in for the Raiders. He replaced Conway. To Pecor now for the Seahorses. Over to Smith, back to Pecor. They go inside to Manny Robertson, puts it up. And a rebound is controlled by the Raiders. Bailey ahead to Duval. And ball was stripped away from Joe Duval's hands. Let's see, it went out of bounds, so it'll be a Raider ball. And Chris Mayhew will inbound it here. You got Mayhew, Bailey, Eaton, Duval, and Boynton. Long distance, Jake Eaton. And Eaton with the three-pointer. Well, that puts the Raiders down by 9 here. 37-28. Seahorses on top. Back the other way now. O'Brien to Pecor from outside. And rebound Mayhew. Loses the handle, and it's controlled. O'Brien back for Burlington in the lane. Rebound Robertson up strong. Boynton, I'll tell you, looked like he got all ball on that one, but looked like a nice block by Aaron Boynton. But they're going to call it against Boynton, so this one will be his fourth. So Boynton picks up the fourth. Robertson will go to the free throw line for the Seahorses. Greg Sinus will check in for Aaron Boynton. 37-28, Seahorses on top with Manny Robertson at the line. 4:07 left in the third quarter of play here from Keefe Gymnasium. And Robertson puts it through the twines, and the Seahorses go up by 10 here. Falls in the second half. The Raiders with 2, and the Seahorses with 1. Second shot is good, so Robertson sinks them both. 39-28, 4:05 left. And the third quarter play, Sinus inside to Duval outside, and that one doesn't go. Rebound. We got a foul against Pecor, I believe. So Justin Pecor picks up the personal for the Seahorses, and it'll be a Raiders ball out of bounds. 3:55 left, third quarter of play. 39-28, Seahorses on top. Mayhew gets it into Sinus, and he's looking for help. He gets it back to Mayhew. Now he whips it over to Duval. Duval skips past it. Mayhew in the lane, and he got it. So Mayhew now with the bucket. 39-30, the Raiders down by 9 to Burlington now. Back come the Seahorses. Pecor to Smith. A little push off there by Smith, nothing called. And they're going to call Bailey for the personal underneath. And let's see, that's going to be Aaron's fourth, I believe. Aaron Bailey picks up his 4. So you've got Boynton with 4, Conway with 4, and Bailey with 4 for the Raiders. Robertson was at the line. 39-30, the Seahorses up here with 3:24 left in the third quarter of play here from Keefe Gymnasium. Coming in for Aaron Bailey is Dave Paller now for the Raiders. So it's Paller, Sinus, Eaton, Duval, and Mayhew for the Raiders. Robertson gets 1 of 2 at the charity stripe, so it's 40-30. Seahorses on top with 3:20 left, third quarter now. Eaton handling it outside, drives against Pecor. Now he gets stripped, ball tipped away there by O'Brien, and Burlington gets control. Mayhew steals it back. Mayhew working against Pecor down the other end. It's up and in. 40-32. 40-32, the Raiders down by 8 now with 2:53 left. Third quarter of action here from Keefe. O'Brien over to Smith. They go into Robertson, loses the handle momentarily. Back to Smith from outside, and all of a sudden the Seahorses can't find the basket. Mayhew drives in and rebound. Eaton controlled. Goes outside to Duval in the lane, and it's good. And the Seahorses call a timeout. The score with 2:26 left. The Raiders 34, the Seahorses 40. We'll be back. All right, back at Keefe here, 2:26 left. Third quarter of action, and it's 40-34. The Seahorses on top of the Raiders. Set that Raider lineup now. It's Duval, Mayhew, Paller, Sinus, and Jake Eaton in there also for the Raiders. So O'Brien will bring it down. Jay O'Brien in the lane, dishes it. And we got a foul underneath. It's going to go against the Raiders. Joe Duval will pick up the personal. And that's Duval's first in the ball game. 2:13 left here, third quarter action. And this will send Sam Kuchar to the line for the Seahorses. Kuchar will get another one here. 14 fouls against the Raiders, 2 against the Seahorses. And Kuchar misses them both. The rebound, Paller for the Raiders, ahead to Mayhew to Duval. Duval cross court to Paller. Paller gets it to Eaton now. Eaton over to Mayhew. Mayhew over to Duval. Raiders trying to run that motion offense there. O'Brien steals a dish to Robertson, who puts it up and in. Robertson with the bucket, 42-34 now. 1:44 left, third quarter. Duval looks, and he goes to Mayhew now. Mayhew drives it in, dishes it to Sinus. Sinus puts it up and in. Greg Sinus with the bucket, 42-36, 1:28 left, third quarter action here from Keefe. Back the other way. T-ball for the Seahorses over to O'Brien. O'Brien outside. It's it back to T-ball now. T-ball over to Pecor from outside, and we got a foul. Joe Duval, the Raiders, outside. I don't know if that was a three-point attempt or not. Let's see. Duval will pick up his second. So the Raiders now 5 team fouls, and the Seahorses 2. Seahorses will inbound, and O'Brien. And we've got some subs in there now. The Raiders going with Mayhew. John Lind is in there. Mike Stempek's in the ball game, and also Dave Paller. Basket is good. 44-36 now, so it's Stempek, Paller, Mayhew, Lynn, and Duval. Over to Paller. Paller wanted to go inside there, and it's knocked away, so it'll be a Red Raider ball here. 44-36, 58 seconds left in the third quarter of play. The Duval looks inside, goes to Stempek to Mayhew now. Down to 50 seconds left. Third quarter action from Keefe. The Seahorses on top, 44-36. Back to Stempek. Stempek over to the corner to Mayhew. Mayhew drives. Skips it to Stempek from outside. Got it. Stempek, 44-38. The Seahorses now. 24 seconds left. O'Brien now for Burlington. We got O'Brien, T-ball. Toronto's in there. Robertson. I watched the He might loop it up to Robertson underneath. They got 9 seconds left. Here we go. Now this is Toronto from outside. That falls short, but underneath at the buzzer, number 22, that's Sam Kuchar for the Seahorses, puts it in. So at the end of 3 quarters of play, it's Burlington 46 and Rutland 38. All right, back at Keefe here. Start the 4th quarter of play. It's the Seahorses 46 and the Rutland High Red Raiders 38. Burlington with an 8-point lead. The Raiders will try to chisel away at it here. Mayhew. And it goes off the back of the rim. Controlled by the Seahorses. Kuchar with the rebound. Gets it ahead to O'Brien. The Raiders going with Mayhew, Boynton, Stempeck, Duval, and Lynn in there for Rutland. O'Brien through the lane, gets it to Robertson off the glass. 48-38 now. The Seahorses build that 10-point lead back up again here. 7:28 left. 4th quarter just underway. Duval gets it to Mayhew now. Mayhew to Stempeck. Mike looks inside to Lynn. John Lynn dishes it back to Mayhew now. Chris drives the lane and puts it up and in. 48-41, 7-point Seahorse lead. Back the other way, O'Brien dishes to T-ball and a basket. Mayhew brings it down the other end in the lane. No basket. We got a fall before the shot. Mayhew driving the lane and he's fouled. See who picks up the first personal here for the Seahorses. And that one's going to go against Luke Toronto. So Toronto picks up the personal for the Seahorses. 6:57 left in the contest. And Mayhew gets it to Duval now. Duval goes inside to Eaton, turn around, and it falls up short. Robertson pulls it down for the Seahorses, ahead to O'Brien. And we got a foul outside. It's going to be on Chris Mayhew of the Raiders. And this will send, let's see, is that a, no, it's the Seahorses will inbound it. So Mayhew picks up the personal. That's Chris's second fall of the contest. Raiders with 16 fouls and the Seahorses with 3. Rebound is Mayhew. Ahead to Eaton now, Jake Eaton. And they gave him the baseline. He comes up short on that one. Rebound controlled by Robertson, knocked away, but Duval is going to get called for the personal. And let's see, they're going to call it against Joe Duval, the Raiders. And that'll be Joe's third. So that's 3 on Duval. And this will send Manny Robertson to the line for the Seahorses, 48-40. Burlington on top here. 6:30 left in the 4th quarter of action. (49-40). And Robertson gets 1 of 2. Rebound controlled by the Raiders. Jake Eaton brings it into the forecourt. Whips it across to Duval. Duval's got the lane. He wanted to go behind the back to Sinus. I think he would have fared better if he had taken the shot. Back the other way. Pecor goes to the deck along with Eaton. Nothing called. And back the other way we go. Sinus. Strong to the hoop. Doesn't go. Rebound. Robertson rips it down. Ahead to O'Brien. O'Brien, and they're going to get Jake Eaton on the foul, I believe. O'Brien up with the shot, and Jake Eaton picks up the personal here. And that'll be Jake's first foul of the contest. The Raiders now with 8 team fouls, the Seahorses with 3, and stepping to the line is Jay O'Brien for the Seahorses. 6:01 left here, 4th quarter. And O'Brien puts the first one through. 50-40. And it seems like most of the afternoon the Seahorses have tried to maintain that 10-point lead over the Raiders. The Raiders have cut into it from time to time, but have not been able to get much closer. So O'Brien gets 1 of 2. We go the other way. Conway in the ball game for the Raiders now to Sinus. Pretty play. Greg Sinus with a nice move inside. It's 50-42. 5:47 left in the contest. O'Brien for the Seahorses. So to O'Brien with the push-off there against Stempek. Nothing called. And Pecor from outside. Rebound. Boynton gets it ahead to Eaton now. Jake Eaton for the Raiders brings it up. Eaton with the skip pass. A sign is strong on the inside, and we got a travel. And this gives the ball back to the Seahorses now with 5:23 left. 50-42. The Raiders down by 8. Conway, Mayhew, Eaton, Sinus, and Boynton in there for the Raiders. Over to O'Brien now. O'Brien to Pecor. Pecor stops, pops, and a rebound ripped out of there by Boynton. Gets it ahead to Mayhew now. Mayhew drives it in, and we got a foul. A couple of Seahorses hit the deck on that one. Pecor and Robertson go to the floor. Let's see who picks up the personal. And this one's going to go against Justin Pecor of the Seahorses. So this will send Chris Mayhew to the free throw line with 5:02 left, fourth quarter. The Raiders down by 8. Make it 50-43 now. And he got them both. So Mayhew gets them both at the charity stripe. It's 50-44, 4:58. And I got a feeling this is going to get closer here, folks. Boy, they look like a travel out there, nothing doing. And Pecor way off the mark. Sinus rebounds for the Raiders to Mayhew. And drives in the lane, up and in. 50-46 now. Mayhew makes the bucket, 4:35 left. Back the other way, O'Brien. And we got a foul underneath. Oh, Chris Mayhew is going to pick up the personal. Let's see, that'll be his third. So Mayhew's got 3, Boynton 4, Bailey 4, Conway 3, Duval 3 for the Raiders. Jake Eaton with 1 and John Lynn with 1. And as far as the personal fouls go, so this will send Sam Kuchar to the free throw line for the Seahorses. 50-46, the Raiders down by 4 with 4:31 left. And the Raiders with 9 team fouls, the Seahorses with 4. And Kuchar gets 1 of 2, so 51-46, 4:31 left. And Mayhew brings it up for Rutland. We go to Mayhew to Eaton now. Eaton goes to Conway. Conway in the lane, bounce pass. And it goes out of bounds. It's going to be controlled by the Seahorses. 51-46, 4:17 left in the contest here at Keefe Gymnasium. The Raiders and the Seahorses. And let's see now. O'Brien wanted to go inside, taken by Boynton. Pretty defensive play there by Aaron Boynton. And the Raiders come back with it. Eaton now. We got a foul outside before the... all right, this will be against Seth Smith. So Smith picks up the personal for Burlington. Now we got a timeout, and we'll take a timeout. The Raiders 46, Burlington 51. Back at Keefe here, and the Raiders down to the Seahorses, 51-46, 3:56 left in the fourth quarter. Got a foul in the lane. Chris Mayhew driving through. Let's see who picks this one up here for It's going to be against T-Bowl, I believe. So T-Bowl picks up his first personal for Burlington. Conway now with the ball for the Raiders. Gets it to Sinus to Mayhew. Mayhew to Conway from outside, and this one goes up and off the rim. O'Brien will control for Burlington. 3:38 left in the contest. The Raiders down 51-46 to the Seahorses. Pecor goes to O'Brien, and in the lane, and Kuchar with the bucket for Burlington. 53-46. That's a big one here. 3:23 left. Back the other way now. Mayhew to Boynton. Over to Conway. Seahorse is packing it in here in the defensive side of things. Boynton wants to go inside. Now he skips it back to Eaton. Jake Eaton over to Mayhew. Mayhew to Conway. Conway to Eaton now. The Raiders up to Boynton in the lane, in and out. Must have had a cover on that one. O'Brien brings it back down for the Seahorses now. 2:51 left. 53-46. This is a key series right here for the Raiders on the defensive side of things. We need a turnover here with 2:39 left in the contest. O'Brien now killing some time inside to Pecor. And 55 now, 46 Seahorses. And they upped it. I tell you, the Raiders get it down, and Burlington comes right back again. Timeout. Burlington 55, Raiders 46. We'll be back. All right, we're back at Keefe, 2:27 left in the contest, and the Rutland High Red Raiders trail the Seahorses from Burlington, 55-46. It'll be a Raider ball. And Mayhew wanted to go to Duval, lost the handle. Robertson back for the Seahorses, didn't get the shot off. And Robertson's down on the floor here. And let's see, we got a... Dick Falkenbush, the coach of the Seahorses, is livid on the Burlington sidelines here. We had a no call, I believe, or Seahorse ball. Ball went out of bounds, so O'Brien will put it in play. T-ball back to O'Brien from outside, and that one's off the mark. It'll be a Raider ball. Oh, wait a minute here. I'll tell you, Boynton went up on the defensive side of things, and he got his hand in the face of O'Brien. They gave it back to Burlington. They said that Boynton touched it out, evidently. I didn't see it. At any rate, O'Brien controls for the Seahorses. Gets it out to Pecor. The Seahorses have time on their side. O'Brien, we got a fall outside here. And let's see who this goes against. This one's going to go against, they got number 12 up there. We got 12 on the board, but there's no 12 out there for the Raiders at this point. I think I had to go against Jakey. I think it was against Eaton. (57-46). Now they gave it to Joe Duval, so Joe Duval picked up the fall for the Raiders. Back the other way. Mayhew, and the basket's good. That's going to count. Basket will count. 57-48. 1:48 left in the contest. Joe Duval picked up his fourth. That was down at the other end there previous. And picking up the fall here for the Seahorses was Phil Hoyt. And that's his second at the line. Chris Mayhew for the Raiders. And Mayhew gets the three-point play. 57-49. The Raiders now with the full court press. The Raiders going with Duval, Eaton, Mayhew, Boynton, and Sinus. Pretty play. Smith puts it in for the Seahorses, and it's 59-49. They have that 10-point lead again now. Burlington has had the 10-point lead. Then the Raiders would chip away. Jake Eaton with the three-pointer. Timeout. We'll be back. Raiders 52, Burlington 59. All right, we're back at key. 59 for the Seahorses, 52 for the Raiders, and it'll be a Burlington ball out of bounds here. A little confusion here. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I got 6 players on the court for Burlington, so someone's got to give here. Somebody's got to go off. All right, so the Seahorses will inbound. The Raiders employing the full court press against Burlington here. 1:23 left in the contest, 59-52. And O'Brien here coming up unmolested, and it's finally. Ball was tipped away by Eaton. It's picked up by O'Brien, and it'll be a Burlington ball here out of bounds. Robertson will come in for Hoyt for the Seahorses. And they'll inbound, and Duval follows O'Brien out front with 1:15 left in the contest. So Duval, I believe that's Joe's 5th. And Joe Duval is going to pick up the 5th personal, so he'll have to exit the ball game. Let's see, Falkenbush calls his players over to his bench. A little discussion going on between Coach Kinsman and Skip Pratical, the official for this afternoon's ball game. 59-52, the Raiders down by 7, 1:15 left in the contest. And let's see, Mike Stempak will be coming in for Joe Duval for the Raiders. So Joe Duval leaves the ball game, and Joe had 6 points for this afternoon. Played a good ball game out there for the Raiders, and is replaced by Mike Stempak now. 1:15 left in the contest. O'Brien makes it 60-52, and he's got another one coming. Well, Jay O'Brien puts the Seahorses up 61-52, 1:13 left in the ball game. The Raiders all alone. Sinus puts it up and in. Nice play there. Stempak over to Sinus for the bucket. 61-54. We got a foul, and I believe on Jake Eaton picked up the foul. That's his 3rd of the contest. Like Chris Mayhew had something in his eye there. He's going to go to the bench now. 1:03 left, 61-54. The Seahorses on top, and let's see, Burlington will be going to the free throw line. So Justin Pecor going to the free throw line for the Seahorses. 1:03 left in the contest, 61-54, Burlington on top, and Pecor at the line. The Raiders have 10 team fouls, and the Seahorses have 7. The Raiders have had a lot of fouls all afternoon, but that's one of the pluses, is that shows that they are aggressive on the defensive side of things. Kuchar with the putback, and at 64-54, there's that 10-point lead again. The Seahorses have had some breathing room all afternoon. Jake Eaton with the three-point attempt, no good. Foul out on there, and let's see. O'Brien's going to pick up the personal. Jay O'Brien picking up the foul. Jake Eaton will step to the charity stripe for the Raiders. 48 seconds left in the contest. 64-54, Burlington on top. And that's O'Brien's 3rd foul. The Raiders 10 team fouls and the Seahorses 8. Eaton at the line. 64-55 now. So Jake Eaton sinks them both at 64-56 and 47 seconds left. O'Brien stripped by Mayhew. Unbelievable. They called... I don't know who they had on that one. Let's see. Let's see who they're going to give this one to. Mike Stempeck, I believe. Yeah, so Mike's going to pick up his first personal of the ball game. And O'Brien comes up short on that one. 64-56. Burlington on top of the Raiders here with 44 seconds left, and O'Brien will attempt the second one. Rebound, Kuchar. And he put it up, 66-56. There again is the 10-point lead by the Seahorses. Mayhew from three-point land. Doesn't go. Rebound controlled by the Seahorses. O'Brien, and they've got Chris Mayhew on the fall in the backcourt. And that's going to be Chris's fourth, I believe. That's four personals against Mayhew with 30 seconds left in the contest. The Raiders trail by 10 again, and it seems all afternoon they've been down by 10 here to the Seahorses. They whittled it away, and they get close, and they just can't climb back into it here. 66-56. O'Brien with 30 seconds left now, and he's got his second attempt coming. Nothing doing. Rebound Eaton goes to Mayhew. Mayhew now. 26 seconds left. He goes to Boynton, wide open, lets it go from three-point land, doesn't go. Rebound controlled by the Seahorses. O'Brien way down court for Pecor, and it rolls off. Boynton with the rebound. Back to Mayhew. Mayhew's got Eaton down here by himself, and 9 seconds in the lane, and it's basket's good. We got a timeout by the Raiders. 66-58 with 6 seconds left. We'll be back. We're back at Keefe here at 66-58. The Burlington High Seahorses are leading the Rutland High Red Raiders, and this the opening game for the Rutland High Red Raiders this year, and they've opened at home here at Keefe Gymnasium this afternoon, entertaining the Seahorses. The Raiders have found themselves down by 10 at various times during the ball game, and they've been able to whittle it down to, they got within 6 and maybe 7, but that's about as close as they've gotten to Burlington this afternoon. The Raiders just not able to convert here, get over that hump here this afternoon. There's O'Brien outside, and that one doesn't go. That'll do it for this one. The final score from Keefe Gymnasium this afternoon, the Burlington High Seahorses 66 and the Rutland High Red Raiders 58. We'll be back on the air next week with the game. The Raiders traveling to Pittsfield, Mass. So we'll see you then. For Brian Mayhew on the camera, this is Mark Carboneau. See you on down the road.